Oh, it's in the.
Hello. Yeah. No worries. Here we go, everyone. This is your host, Alex Balgood, and this is Leap of Health. And today we have Rebecca Packard. She is a leading accredited preventative trauma teacher and educator. She's a self-help instructor, YouTuber, and she is trained on emotional code, body code, EFT, or tapping, and many other methods. She's been a EMT for 15 years, which I thought it was amazing. I really do appreciate all the work that EMT nurses and the first healthcare um, that they do for all of us. Anyways, thank you for being here today, Rebecca.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And for everyone, just so you guys know, it's a full moon today, and the internet and electronics are just going nuts today. But we're welcoming everything, even my neighbor that is building a house right at this moment. But that is just life, and everything happens all at once. And I'm just so thankful for everything, the good, the bad, the in between. And I am so helpful, so grateful to have you today. And we're gonna be talking about emotional coding. But before that, if you can tell us a little bit about how did you became an emotional code educator?
So I ended up coming across the emotion code after I was an EMT. It was a really funny story because my background is 15 years of emergency medicine, like you had said. And then I was also a professional firefighter for 7 years. And I have a degree in criminal justice. So I have like all of that like mainstream fit in the box stuff. But then on 11/11/11, I got hurt at work and I became completely disabled and I wasn't able to walk or leave my couch essentially for 4 years. And part of that was my physical pain. And the other part of that was that I realized that not being able to go and escape my issues, I had debilitating PTSD from 15 years of emergency medicine and my whole life. So I have always used different practices. My parents were the people who used essential oils. And so I was the kid in the soccer field with rubbed down in eucalyptus oil. And my dad meditated. And so I was the kid that knew how to like breathe in through one nostril and out through the other, like that breath of fire. And so I had those tools already. And during the 4-year span that I was injured, I was using EFT and tapping, but it just wasn't getting to the core of my pain. And then I saw somebody online was sharing their story about how they were getting certified in emotion code and they needed volunteers. And so of course I snooped on Doc Brad and checked out his information. And I was like, yeah, I want to try this. And I signed up for a session with the person that was getting their certification. And they were able to find that my pain was actually a deep inherited trauma through my mother's lineage. So through the female ancestry on my mother's side. So no amount of me trying to do all of those first level things was going to help this because I had opened up this space of this inherited injury that I had. And so in a session, we were able to go through that and he was able to release that. And in that space, I was like, this is how I can still help people because of course, being injured and everything and being disabled, I wasn't going to be able to go back to hauling gurneys and driving 911 calls anymore. So I was like, what else can I do? Sorry about that. And I have always been somebody who's been that go-to person for help for other people. I've always been the person who is sensitive to energy and different things like that. And it just really clicked for me. And I was like, ooh, I want to do this. And I had already had some modalities that I was working in, but this was really a big one for me that went, yeah, this one, yes, do this. So I started doing it and I have been every day since. So
That is amazing. I mean, sometimes we go to trauma and pain and we get these weird things and physically that they express themselves physically, and we don't have like you know, any idea why is it hurting here. You know, like there's no real explanation, and there's all these explanations, not maybe not that into the logical space, but there's actually an explanation for a lot of different things that we might feel, especially with trauma. We think trauma is something that, you know, I don't know, somebody being in the army or somebody that was raped or something. But I think trauma, it's a whole a real big thing that happens to us, and sometimes we carry it from from like our ancestors or grandparents or parents.
Yeah, multi-generational trauma is a real thing, and it's crazy because like you're saying, a lot of people associate trauma and think, oh, I wasn't in a car accident, I didn't have a violent interaction, I didn't experience something in front of me. But it's really crazy because it's actually the ongoing small things that our unconscious mind associates with trauma that are really the things that stack up against us over time and end up being like that hair on the camel's back kind of situation, where it's like that one last piece of straw and like down it goes. Those are the things that are really significant for the majority of people, that end up taking them into a space of deep depression or deep physical ailment. Like a number one that most people can recognize is lower back pain is typically caused by financial stress and burden. So even people who have never had a lower back injury will be like, oh, my lower back. A lot of the times it's long-term financial stress and instability that is causing that in the body. And it's really crazy because when you start to piece all of, like, when you're able to see all these different modalities, and you look at all these different sciences and medicines and everything, even when you get into the meridians and Chinese medicine, and even regular medicine now is starting to acknowledge these things. I love that they're starting to acknowledge these things, but they're recognizing the same links, that these things are all connected, because they are.
Yes, I think in every interview that I do, we talk about that, how everything is connected to one thing, that we shouldn't see the physical pain as just that, or the emotional pain as just that. And now we're spiritual beings. We always, you know, are like whatever your belief is. But now we know that all those three things are what kind of like makes us. So we cannot separate, you know, just thinking about the body, we cannot think about like my finger separate from my arm, because it's like they're attached to it. So I think the more we see everything as one, we can heal ourselves better. What have you done for yourself? Did you started doing emotional coding for yourself, or how did that started?
So I started, it was really funny. I never really went, oh, I'm gonna make this my business.
Okay.
I actually started Emotion Code. I had the session with this person. They were able to help that space of pain. It literally popped in my body like a balloon. I could feel it. And I said to my husband, I'm like, you have to try this. Like, I'm booking you a session. You're going to try this. And he was like, okay. And then he did it. And he was like, you need to do this. And I was like, I'm going to get certified so I can do it for us. And he goes, no, I think this is like, I think that this is going to help in a bigger way. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm like, we're gonna do this for us. So I went through the whole curriculum. I did all the tests. I did all the different levels that you have to do to get your certification. And then I was like, I think I'm going to make this my business. Like, I think I'm going to do this because like, I need to do something. Like, yes, I have 2 children. I love my children to death, but like, I'm, I'm coming from the world of EMS and fire. I am a type A personality who needs to like do things. Like, I need to be of
Yes.
service in a bigger way. Um, and so, and like, I know that about me. So I was like, okay, I'll be able to set my own hours, all that. Fantastic. And then I was like, I want to do the body code too. And he was like, okay. So then I got that certification too. And it just kind of has evolved and rolled from there. And I just keep adding certifications every year of different modalities that I use to work with the emotion code and the body code.
That is so amazing. I mean, learning, we should all be learning something new. Like,
I'm
like
addicted to learning.
we're capable to do that.
I
And
love it.
yes, yes, same here. And going back to the emotional coding and body coding, for everybody that has never heard of it, how does it work? I know I've done it before. I've done it with you. I'm like a super big fan of it. It has helped me enormously. But how does it work? Tell us a little bit of how, for anybody that's like, what is this? I don't know how to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It is one of those modalities that not many people are familiar with. And
Mhm.
it is a really, really awesome one because I don't need to sit and we don't need to talk about all the things and we don't need to like hash all the things out. Essentially, we're using kinesiology and we're using different questions to move through different areas that can get yes and no answers to get us to a space. And so like I have, like I said, I was working on my head. So I would say, okay, I would start asking all these different questions that would pop into my head when it comes around that space of, is this trauma? Is this an emotion? Is this like, it just keeps spinning of like all these different questions. And it's, there's a lot to it, but that's the easiest way to explain it. And that whole time you're using kinesiology, getting yes and no answers by muscle testing. Um, and each time you lead yourself into another space, into another question, until you get to the space where it's like, oh, this is the emotion, and you can release it, or this is the event or the situation, and then you release it. And so it's one of those things where I think I'm just really open to listening to what pops into my head. So I get led in a lot of different places to go to get these things done. Oops, sorry. But yeah, and it's fascinating. It was fascinating learning it and then evolving it.
Yeah, for sure. Is that the same with body work? Is that emotional coding and body work similar?
So I do body code. Body work and body talk are a little bit different than body code.
Yes,
They
sorry.
have,
Yeah, that's what I meant. Body code.
yeah,
Sorry.
body code. So the fascinating thing with body code is that they've put together over 236 different slides, and I kind of explain it to people. It's kind of like an oracle deck in digital, and you're using kinesiology to move through it very quickly because it lays out these spreads over and over again, and you go left, right, up, down. Like, if ask the questions, and it will lead you through the body and through like circulatory systems. It will lead you through all these different places, and you'll get to a space, and it'll be like, oh, it's hiding here. Because I like to like explain, our bodies are like Hogwarts. Our brains are like Hogwarts. There's so many different files and books and levels and
Mhm.
evolutions of who we are. And so it will lead you right to that space, and then you'll be like, okay, and you walk through the steps and find the emotions that are affecting that space, and then release it. Because sometimes you're like, oh, my hamstring's killing me. And like, I've had people come to me and they're like, oh, my hamstring's killing me. And I'm like, you have a kidney stone. And they're like, no, my leg hurts. And I'm like, but you have a kidney stone. And then in a week or two, they'll call me and they'll be like, you won't believe this. I just passed the biggest kidney stone ever. And I'm like, you're welcome. So like, you
Wow.
can
Yeah.
hamstring yourself all you want, but that's not what's coming up. And then, and that's the other fantastic part about body code, is that sometimes we will be like, oh, well, it's my left shoulder that hurts. And it's really like, well, it's your right foot meridian that's out of alignment. So it's like, oh, okay. So now you're not like blindly jumping through the body, and it kind of gives you a different way to look at things. But I love both of them because I use them both together, like to run parallel with each other and not just focus on just one.
Yeah, that is amazing. Like it, like for anybody that have not tried this, you should definitely try at least once to see what, you know, Rebecca does, or any other practitioner that you might find doing this. And going back to the trauma, because I know we carry a lot of trauma and it shows physically. And I know this modality, you don't have to be there in person. How does that work? Because I know like Reiki, it's a energy healing modality that we don't have to be like right in the same room. You could be like in China and I could be in Tupuntu or whatever.
Yeah, no, we can do that with emotion code and body code also. Actually, it's funny because I shouldn't say it that way. I was going to say I'm so excited, but I am really excited that more people are open to working online now. Because I have always done everything full distance. I don't actually have a physical location. So like when we had our session, we do it right over the video Zoom chat, or I can do this 100% full distance and send an email to someone. I actually have a regular customer that works with me in Japan. So when I'm working on them, they're asleep in Japan because I'm in New England. Because they just they sign up for a session, they write a little note and say, hey, this is what I want you to work on. And then I do all the work, and then I send them the little email. And in the space of trauma, I have a little check sheet, and I have a space where you just say, you know, I want you to work on this. And if I have any questions about it, I just email you back and say, hey, this, and this came up. Can you clarify this? And then we'll work in that space. But a lot of the times I don't even need to do that. I've only had that happen in 6 years twice. I usually can figure it out on my own, because when I'm working by myself, I will close my eyes and I put on my sound canceling headset and I kind of just zone out, which I always tell people if I'm in a one-on-one. I think I told you this too. When I'm in a one-on-one session, if I zone out and I look like I'm staring off into space, I'm just like in my zone, doing my thing. So like, talk to me if you need to, but I'm just moving through emotions and levels of where I'm being taken to sort things out. So sometimes I just look like the screen is frozen and people will be like, are you there? I'm like, yeah. I'm sorry. So it's kind of funny. So yeah, I can do this for anyone around the world. And honestly, I can do this even if you're in like right now, you're in a different time zone than I am, but even if you were asleep, I can do this for you.
That is amazing. Do you do this for kids? I'm just curious.
Yes, I do. My only stipulation for kids, and I do that very focused in the space of they have to be your child. I have had people who ask me like, can you work on, no, if they're not your human, if like they need to be your son or daughter, you have to be either the mother or the father. They have to live under your roof. You need to be the guardian of this human being for me to take that on. And they need to be under the age of 18 if you are not going to tell them that it's taking place. And honestly, if they are over 10 and you are somebody who's tuning into this, odds are you have a spiritual home or you have a child who's open to this information. And you want to just say, hey, I'm going to book you a session for something that's going to help you. But kids under 10, you don't even need to tell. They won't get it anyway. They don't really, like they do. Some of them do, some of them don't, but they'll just have the benefit. That's up to you. You know your child better than I do. But I always like to stipulate that like they need to be under 18, like because 18 and older, they're grown-ups, they're their own free will and all the things. But I also need, like, they have to be your people. They have to be your human. Because I have
for
had
sure.
people who were like, I got this 32-year-old nephew. I'm like, no, that ain't gonna work. Thanks though. You gotta get him to book. He's a people.
Yeah, we tend to probably do that. Like, can you fix the neighbor? Can you do this for this
No.
person? Yeah. I
No.
like that
Yeah,
you tell us
ethically, that's
that.
not okay.
Yeah, for sure. And going back into the really big topic of trauma,
Mhm.
um, what do you recommend for people that are actually going through, from maybe veterans or woman that's being abused or something like that? What would you recommend for them? I know doing tapping and other modalities that you do might help them. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, honestly, everyone has trauma. Um,
Yes.
if you walk around right now today and you're like, I am perfect, everything's amazing, you have only moved into the first level of sorting through what's gone on in the last 2 years of the world. Congratulations. Get yourself some tools because it's going to get rocky. The rest of you who are standing in campers crying, or standing in the grocery aisle crying, or if you are having incredible amounts of road rage, or you're just angry, you're expressing trauma by trying to suppress trauma, which doesn't work. And so tapping is
Yeah.
amazing. You can get YouTube videos that are free that can help you tap on that. There are so many apps and mindful meditations that can help you with that. There's a lot of different things you can use. I have, right when you go right to book a session with me, it's like, do you have PTSD? Like, do you have depression? Do you have anxiety? And you can just check the boxes off. And I move through like 5 different spaces to check on where that might be. And right now, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people are getting stuck in the circle of what trauma does. And allowing yourself to lean into some of these tools can help you break that cycle of needing to go back and redo it again and again and again. Because I'm watching people who are like, hate the news so much, and then they watch the news again. It's like, no, remember, you said you didn't have a good time the last time you did that, so don't do it again. And like, maybe you love the news, fantastic, great for you. Some of them are super funny, some of them are not. Choose what works for you. But if you're finding things like you're getting in the car every day and you're like, I used 18 explicit words on my way to work today, that's probably not good. I probably need to work on that. Then utilizing the space of tapping or breathing or acknowledging what was it. I always like to do says who, like, why am I doing this? Who says I'm doing this? There's a whole system to it, and I share information about that. And I can walk people through the way that works. But it helps you to let go of needing to go back to the habit that gives you the endorphin that drives you to go and redo it. And when you release the emotion that's causing that energetic connection, that magnetic response for you to repeat it, you'll notice that a lot of things start to shift, because you'd be amazed at how many things start to circle those bad behaviors or those unwanted behaviors. I won't call them bad, because they're not bad and they're not good. They're not your happy place. They're not when you're feeling your best. They're not when your body's feeling your best, because when you're excessive in those spaces, it changes the way that your entire metabolic system is functioning. It changes the way that your body is able to support you. And so breaking that cycle can help you to start to unwind in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, for sure. And what we'll just say for all those people that they think they don't have like traumas, that they just are, you know, that maybe they don't know they have traumas, and they're like angry all the time, or for no reason they're like sad, or they have depression.
Yeah. A lot of the times I find that, especially right now, okay, if you are finding that you are emotionally not yourself, there is a part of you that is denying another part of you. And in the big and small, that comes down to you're having a trauma response. When you start to deny aspects of who you are, or parts of your truth, you're having a trauma response. And so people who are like, I am on my 378th day of just wanting to sleep all the time, or I am just angry all the time and I don't even know why I'm angry. I'm generally a happy person, but I'm angry all the time. You're having a trauma. That doesn't mean that the trauma just happened, or that it even happened in the last year. This could even be something that maybe something in the last year triggered the fact that you had a childhood trauma you don't even remember experiencing. This could be that you had something else happen at another point in your life, and it's just now catching up with you, because again, like we said earlier, it's that whole that piece of hair on the camel's back, that one last hair that takes it down, is that you've gotten to the place where you just can't carry the burden of all of it anymore, and it's all stacking against you now. And so it's not weak, it's not bad, it's not, it doesn't make you any less than you are. It just is that we're all human and we're all just trying to do our best. And the best way to do that is for us to work on ourselves, to get ourselves help, and to help ourselves when we are struggling.
Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about like our times now is that there's so many things that we could do for that, whether it's just going outside for a walk, or put your feet on the grass, or take a deep breath, or doing a little bit more work, whether is meditation, or tapping, or emotional coding, or Reiki, or whatever it is that that you would like to do. That we have so many tools to help ourselves, and that's like the greatest thing that we have now in our times now. So it's super cool. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for we have made it today. As I said, it's a full moon, and our electronics keep going crazy, but I am glad for everyone that keeps listening to our episode today. If they want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about me and emotion code, you can find me at rebeccapackard.com.
Awesome. And I will put all her information on the show notes too. And again, once again, just a little tip for everybody that is listening today. Just, if you're not feeling your true self, as Rebecca just said, it might be something that is bugging you, like a trauma. So do any of the methods that you might feel better with. And it's going to make you feel much better. Don't hide it under the rug. Literally just work through things, because you're going to become the better self, of yourself. So anyways, it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you for everyone for listening today. Thank you, Rebecca, for giving us this space to talk to you. And have a blessed day, everyone. If you need to look me up, do go to alexgood.com, and all of my social media handles. I will also put them on the show notes too. Thank you, everyone, for listening today. Have a blessed day.